Hey guys, we're back at you with video number 2, and this is where we're going to learn the hinge movement. Okay, the hinge movement is a very primal pattern. It's something that we're designed to do. We have hips that hinge. Most people get this wrong by using their back too much. The most important thing when learning the hinge is to try and use your posterior chain, your hamstrings, calves, glutes, lower back. Okay, they're all posterior chain. Mainly hamstrings is what we're looking to use. So hinging at the hips will take the pressure off the lower back and the pressure off the upper back. And that's, like I said, the most important thing. You need to make sure you get this pattern nailed down, because there'll be a lot of exercises that are hinge movements, and you just need to make sure you're doing it safely and effectively to get the most out of that exercise, okay? With the hinge, if I go side on, the most important thing, like I've said, with the hinge movement is that it comes from the hips. It doesn't come from the lower back, and there's not a massive amount of knee movement. Okay, so a squat, when there's a lot of knees, the back is it's pretty easy to keep your back flat on a squat. It becomes a lot more difficult when you try to bend at the hips. It should look like this. So you go back and up. The head should stay in line, so when you come over, all the way over, all the way up. What I'm doing is pushing my hips backwards. So let's say there's an imaginary wall about a foot behind me. I'm going to start with my weight slightly shifted onto my heels. I'm going to be nice and upright, and like I said, I'm going to move from the hips, not from the lower back, so it won't look like that. We're not just going straight over, we're actually pushing weight backwards. So my hips are going to go, there's an imaginary wall, I'm going to try and touch the backside on that wall. I'm going to push back, keep the head in line, and up. My head's probably up a little bit too far there, so keep the head in line, and up. Okay? If you are struggling to get that pattern right, do it against the wall. Actually do it against the wall, stand a little bit out, and try and push your backside to touch the wall. There's also another trick you can use. If you use something like a broomstick, a dowel, go one hand over, pop it on your back, one hand under, get it on the lower back, the upper back, and the head, and then hinge forward without letting that dowel, broomstick, come off the contact points. If it comes off the contact points, you instantly know. So keep those contact points, lower back, upper back, head, and you should really feel it in the hamstrings when you do this exercise, okay? So that's another tip. You can use a broomstick or something like that, or against the wall to get that hinge movement. If we're looking at exercises that are hinge movements, they're normally things like picking stuff off the floor. This is a bodyweight program, so there won't be a lot of that in the workout. But any jump that is forward also is a hinge movement, okay? So I will show you a long jump, which may be in the programs, and I'll show you how it becomes a hinge. I'll do it in slow motion, I won't do a huge jump. So if I want to jump forward, rather than go down and do a squat jump upwards, I'm going forward. So what I'm going to do is push my weight back, so you see my hamstrings, glutes are ready to go, arms are going to go back, big jump, I'm going to take the impact. So you're sort of landing in a squat position, but you're initially setting off in a hinge and then landing. And that is an exercise that then come up in your workouts in the future. Just get used to doing that hinge pattern and making sure it's not lower back that does the work. Okay, your lower back will work in a hinge, but it shouldn't be the main muscle you're feeling it in. It should really be hamstrings. And there's going to be a few limitations depending on your range of motion and your flexibility. That's something you can work on. We don't have to get really far over when we do a long jump. It's just a bit of a hinge, making sure we push weight back onto heels, onto hamstrings, propelling yourself forward. That is the most basic of hinge movements. We will see you in the next video. Give that a practice, and I will see you then. Good luck, guys.